What am I? Desktop. Desktop has everything, right? I want to see everything. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to show you is how to save blocks or how to convert things to blocks. All I've done in the Google Drive link I shared with you, there's an actual bathroom as an example in there that has a jacuzzi block, has this person in a wheelchair, has a shower, and then notes, and it's like a half decent example of what things should look like. Although it's very, very basic, aside from this person has a really fancy tub with lots of jets. But what's nice about the blocks in here, oh, and I moved the toilet. What's nice is that you can just like literally grab these and move them. So you can grab the toilet as a whole and move it around and rotate it and reconfigure it as necessary. I'll show you how to do that. So first I'm going to take this existing block and I'm going to explode it. What that does is it changes it from a block into individual lines, how it was drawn, and it removes it from whatever layer you had it in as well. And now I want to reblock it. So first I can put it in, I don't know, whatever layer I want it to be in, call it a glaze. And I'm just going to type in block, B-L-O-C-K. We don't need to use W block. So when we did our title block early on in in drafting back in time, we did W block, which allowed you to edit the attributes of the block. So that's where you could like change the title, change the date, all of that. We don't need to do a W block. We just need to do block in this instance. We just want all these lines to join and it to be one entity. So block, enter, and then it's going to ask you some questions. You can name the block if you want. I'll call this toilet 1. Pick point is the first thing. Pick point, you just pick what you want it to insert. So you want it to insert from the center of the toilet or from the middle of the back or whatever. Just like when you insert your title block, you pick like the bottom left corner or bottom right corner, actually, I think. Anyway, I'm going to click the center of the toilet. That'll be the insertion point. The objects, I go select objects and I pick the whole toilet, enter. And then what do I want? I want to convert it to a block. It's important that convert to block is selected. And we can allow exploding. So like after you make it a block, you can explode it again if you want to, if you decide that like you need to make changes to the toilet or whatever. So now I'm going to go OK, and it's going to block this. So now it's like uniformly one thing. And then now you're like, okay, well, why is this beneficial? It's beneficial because now it's saved to a block library and you can insert blocks. So if you go to insert and you drop down the insert, it's going to have a library of everything that you blocked. So you can make a library of like walls. You could make a library of handles, like the wheelchair handles or assistance bars. You can make a library of tubs, whatever. If you go down here, you have toilet 1. That's the toilet that I just made. I can just like insert as many toilets into here as I want. I can move them around. I can scale them uniformly. It makes it a lot easier when you're determining your footprint and where things are going to go in the layout of your bathroom. It makes it way easier if you block them. Okay, so just a reminder for this assignment, it is expected that you do custom layers so that each kind of thing has its own layer, so I can turn things on and off and like see what's going on in the assignment. And also that you need to make blocks. Any questions about this, about making blocks, inserting blocks, where to save blocks? Yep. The choice is yours. What layers you want to make. It shouldn't just be like object section like the ones we've used in the past. They should be specific to your project, like walls or fixtures or shower or whatever, that kind of thing. Okay, I'm going to move into Inventor then to assemblies and explosions. So if you're working on AutoCAD, you can move on or you can watch if you want. I have 2 part files, so I just like very hastily made this phone case and I very hastily made this pop socket. And the only thing I just want to draw your attention to is I put a point. So I don't know if you remember when we work in Inventor, before you make a hole, you can use that command in the drawing bar called point center point. I put a point right here, and then on my case, on the back of it, I put a point. And the reason I did this is it makes it so much easier when you go to try to put 2 things together if you have a location of where you want the 2 things to mate. If you don't have a location, then you have to like line up the edges and type in how much you want it offset by, and you have to do math. And nobody wants to do that if they don't have to. So I put a point on the back where I want it to connect to, and I put a point on the pop socket. So I'm going to use those points to mate. So I have my two files open and they're saved. I'm now going to go into File, New, and I'm working in inches. So under the part here, there's assembly. So I'm going to pick a standard inch IAM, create. It's going to take a second to load. And then I'm just going to bring the phone and the pop socket, or the phone case and the pop socket in. So now that it's loaded, I can go to place and it'll find, so it's not understand parts. I'm in courses, drafting. How come I can't see? There. Courses, drafting, project examples, or I think I'm in examples and demos. Here we go. So phone case, open, and I'll insert phone case. And I'm just going to zoom out so you can see I've inserted that. Escape, and then place, and I'll insert the pop socket. Open, and then pop socket, and then escape. So now I have the two things at least in the same like workspace. Now I have to put them together. It's actually not that hard. All right, so once you got all your parts in here and you're happy with them, you do not go to join, you go to constrain. I'll select constrain and I'm going to rotate around so I can see the back of the case and so I can see the back of the pop socket because I want to see these points that we're going to put together. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to constrain this face. So if you zoom in, it's hard to see on the projector, but you'll be able to see in the recording. There's a little arrow coming off of this face and it's selecting this face here. I select that once, it highlights the face that I want. I want this face to be touching this face here. So I'm going to click the back of the phone case and then I'm going to go apply. And it's going to flip the, oh, just go cancel, close. So I've applied that. What it's going to do is it's going to flip this around. So now this is mated to this, and these two surfaces are constrained together. So it looks like they're not touching, but they're actually constrained so that the two surfaces are on the same plane. The next thing I need to do after mating the faces is I just need to mate the 2 points together. So you can see it's on the same plane. I just moved it way over there. So now I need to put the points together, which is fairly simple because I've drawn the points. If you didn't have the points, it would be a little bit more complicated. So you'd have to go into constrain and you'd have to click like the edge of this and you'd have to click the edge of that. And then you'd have to calculate like the distance in which you want them to be offset, which is like way too much work. So what I'm going to do in this circumstance is I'm going to click this point, zoom in, or let's go to motion. Hang on. Of course, it's like, oh, you're trying to do a demo. I don't want to do that. I don't want you to select this point. There we go. So I've selected the point. And then I'm going to go here and select this point, and it should mate the two things together. Zoom in. Come on. It is not liking my geometry. It's, of course, it's because I'm recording. It doesn't want you to do this. Okay, new plan. So it doesn't like my point, so I'm going to put a point on top of it. So I'm just going to go to point, and I'm going to put one here. And then I'm going to go to this thing and I'm going to put a point on top of it. For some reason, it's not allowing me to pick my geometry. So I'm just going to go point and I'm going to click the point and put it on top. So we'll try this one more time. So we'll go constrain. And then this time, select just the point and then rotate this to the other side and select just the point. Here we go. Apply. Close. So it kept my geometry, but for some reason it wasn't allowing me to select the geometry, and all I did was override that by using the point command here, which was kind of nice because I'd already dimensioned the points where they needed to be in the center, and I just had to click a point on top. So now my two pieces are put together. The faces are mated. So if I grab it, now it should be in unison. The two things are connected, and they should be connected where I want them to be. If at any point you like constrain something incorrectly, all you have to do is click the part. And then I have my mate 1, which is the surface, and then I have mate 2. You just delete them, like single select, delete, and then you'll be able to move the parts around again. But now I have them joined, so I'm going to save this file. So save as, examples and demos, assembly, phone case, save. And now I want to put it into an explosion. So these are the steps that you'll need to follow so that you can do an explosion on a layout sheet. we're going to go and make a new assignment, new. And this time we're going to go down to create an exploded projection and then create. And then we're going to bring the phone in. So it's going to ask you, what do you want to explode? I want to explode my OneDrive, Fraser Heights, courses, drafting, examples and demos, assembly phone case. So this is the thing that I want to explode. And I literally just want to take this part and pull it off. So we'll go to presentation, tweak components. So I'm going to grab this component and I'm going to grab this arrow and I'm going to pull it off here. And it's as simple as that. Okay, I've removed this component from that component. You can remove it as far as you want. Maybe you want it really far away. It doesn't matter to me. So I've got the two components here removed. And then I'm going to save this. So save as, same thing, assembly phone case. And we'll call this explosion. Save. All right, so now's the meat and potatoes. Another new one. This time we're going to do a drawing. You know how to do that. So ANSI inch IDW, create. First thing we do, which I reminded Zion today, you want to change from a D size sheet to an A size sheet. Edit sheet. Switch to A size. Okay. And now you can bring in your thing. So we'll put in a base. Okay. Oh, it says I don't have a snapshot. Okay, I need to do that. So I'll go back to my explosion, which is assembly phone explosion. I need to take a snapshot. So you can literally just like rotate this around to like whatever view you like the best. Like, I don't know what you want. Something like this. I don't know. Whatever view you like, I like this, sure. And then I'll go snapshot view. So it's made a snapshot for me. And then now I can go back to my drawing and I can insert a base. So I have view 1, which is that snapshot, or I can go to view 2, which is that snapshot. I actually like this one better. So I'm going to use view 2 and I can scale it maybe 1 to 1/2. And then check that out. Oops, cancel. Base. View 2. I want to show trails. I can turn off show trails, but show trails shows how the two things are connected. I'll change the scale after, whatever. So here's my thing here. I can double click it to change the scale, 1 to 1.5. It gets a little bit larger. I can go 1 to 1. I might actually be able to fit 1 to 1. There. So I can move my view over here. I can change this if I want to be like solid. So you can see the two things and you can see how they're connected. The next one we're going to do is we're going to add a parts list. So it illustrates like the things that are in this file. And then that one is under annotate, parts list. So you click the part and then you click where you, so I selected the view, this one, and I want to make a structured one and then okay. Yes. And then it makes a parts list for me. Now my parts list is formatted kind of silly. I don't need this description, but you can see one phone case, one pop socket. I can double click this and I can edit my columns. So I want to go into where is it? Table layout. I want to get rid of. I have to remember how to do this. Export, sort, filter settings. Nope. Group settings, column chooser. There we go. Description, I can remove. Okay, so now I should just have item quantity, part number, apply. Okay, and then I now have this nice little table here. You can move it around, you can grab it, you can kind of like reshape it if you need to, but there really isn't a need to. Or you can move it down here. I think it might look a little bit better if we move it down here and we snap it kind of to the top of our title block. So I can't see because my record screen's in the way, but you can snap that there. So this is one of the components that you need to hand in. For the remainder of this assignment, though, you're gonna also, I believe, don't quote me, I need to double check, but this is the presentation with explosion and parts list. I believe you also have to hand in a sheet with like the item with overall dimensions, but double check for the assignment how many sheets you're submitting for this. I believe you're submitting two sheets. or 3 sheets. I can't recall. I have to look that up. But that's blocks and assembling things together, exploding, and putting on a layout sheet with parts list. The rest you should know how to do. You can put notes on here. You can fill out the title block, like all of that stuff we've done before. Are there questions about assembly, explosion, or generating a parts list on a sheet? Okay, if not, I'm going to end the recording, and then that will be that.